Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Good morning to you. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Mother's Day to all of you who are mothers. And we are the Sawyers. This is another session of Heart to Heart with Cornerstone Life Center. Welcome, Lively Stones. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you today? How are you? How are you? You'll answer me or not? You're not going to answer me today.
I'm looking at it. I'm doing good.
I understand that. Why it seems so dark over here?
It ain't dark.
Yeah. Well, we got to get our act together here. We're playing around.
I ain't playing around.
Yes, you are. You're playing around right now. James Dixon is the first one here.
James Dixon.
Hey, James D.
I got to talk
my
with you,
sister and
boy.
brother-in-law. Y'all still coming up here today? And
We got something for you.
Hey, Leslie. How you doing, sweetheart?
Leslie. Happy Mama's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's
Day. Daddy's Day for you.
Happy Mother's Day to all of you mamas. And then there is Dee Dee and George. Happy Mother's Day to you.
George and George Jr.
She says, you wonderful ladies. And there's Sandra. Hey, Sandra, good morning to you. See, I skipped somebody. There's Adele. Hey, Adele.
Adele.
Been a while since we've seen you on here. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you today.
And then there's Kim. Congratulations on your graduation.
Oh, you made it.
John Greason is in the house.
Dr. John.
Oliver and Yo-Yo is in the house. Ollie and Yo-Yo, they're in the house. Happy Mother's Day to you guys. And I know you're going to see your mom, Mama Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandra. She says happy Mother's Day to me. Hey, Sinette from Denmark. Good morning to you, or good afternoon to you. It's afternoon in Denmark. Mm-hmm. And she says it's sunny and warm. It's a little overcast.
Yeah,
here.
A little bit of rain, a little bit here.
In the Carolinas now. It may be different somewhere else. And there's Brother Blue in the family.
Yeah, good to see you, Brother Blue.
Yeah.
Norman J. Hickbar.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about the music, Ollie. And then there's Pastor Norman. Pastor Norman's here in the house today.
Norman J.
Yeah, I hope you have a great Mother's Day session today. I'm sure you will, and I'm glad you are.
Pastor Norman, I hope you have a good Mother's Day.
Yeah. And then, yes, and Sonette says happy Mother's Day to all of the. Oliver thinks I'm an engineering genius. No, I am not. I promise you. Hey, Judy Jew. Happy Mother's Day to you. And
did you see that picture movie about you and baby girl?
No, that was Linda. I said something to Linda.
Okay.
Hey, Vern, I love you, my darling. Vern lost her mom's sister, baby sister, this weekend.
We feel you, honey.
We got
your heart over here.
I'm sure she's kind of feeling a little heavy-hearted today. But
but you'll be okay. Come by if you need to, Vern. We're right here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of the Mother's Day thing, and then you can see me in the view. It's still a little dark behind us for some reason.
Well, I got this black shirt on.
Well,
that didn't help none.
You think that's the issue?
Yeah.
You think it is?
Look at see.
Oliver says I need to be in the picture a little more. So here we go. Let's do this. How about that? Gotcha, Ollie. Let's see. Who else is here today? Essence. Hey, Essence. Hello, my darling. Happy Mother's Day to you.
And then Essence.
Marvita Hill. Hey, sweetie pie.
Okay.
That's Pastor Hill's daughter, Marvita Johnson. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What else we got here? Okay. Who else is in here? All right. There's Sister Chris. Sister Chris is in here today.
Okay.
Hey, darling. Yeah, and I wanted to remember Mama Esther, Mama Essie, and Mother Larice. I wanted to remember them today, and they are gone, but definitely not forgotten. And we love them still dearly. Anyway, let's see what we got on our plates today. What you gonna do today?
No, just talk a little mystery stuff today.
You gonna talk a little mystery stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your mystery?
It was said, if ye had known me, you should have known my Father also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And from henceforth ye know him and have seen him.
Okay.
Hmm. How can this be when they were with each other and JC was talking to him? Didn't sound like it was anybody else there but them.
Hmm.
And yet he
Okay.
said, you know me, you know him, and from henceforth know ye him. And then he said, and Philip said, just like I just said, well, where is he? Show him to us.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what Jesus said. Have I been so long with you? In first person, he said this.
Mm-hmm.
Have I been so long with you, and yet hast thou not known me? First person. And you notice when he said this, it didn't seem like his voice didn't change to a glory, hallelujah, and a chicken walking and knocking somebody's wig off. And he went on into just like the normal same voice that was used when he said, if you had known me, you would have known the Father. His voice tone didn't change. He didn't go into yeah, and the Lord, yeah, you know how preachers do. And he didn't get into that. He didn't get into the shouting and the skipping and the uh, falling out in the floor and
Mm-hmm.
chicken walking and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And he just stood right there, just like everybody's talking in a normal conversation.
Yeah.
Have I been so long with you, and yet hast thou not known me? Philip, what's going on, man? He that have seen me have seen the Father. And how sayest thou then, show us the Father? Now, Jesus did not tell him to go look in a book or
Right.
go read or study a scroll.
How do you think Jesus came to the awareness and understanding that he and the Father were one?
You just answered it in the question.
Okay.
That's the normal way first person identity spirit talk. Just like you just asked the question.
Mm-hmm.
In the question, if you pay attention to it,
Mm-hmm.
in the rose is the smell, but you can't smell it. You have to know something about the rose to understand that there is an odor that comes from it.
Mm-hmm.
What you asked then was yes, he knew that what he was saying because he was in the state of total recognition, revelatory insight.
Yes, I know. But how do you have you ever thought about how he arrived at that
I would
understand at
imagine,
that
I
awareness?
would imagine, based on the fact of what his mother told him, that's the way we hear preachers and everybody talking like now today. But somewhere in there, the way he found out was the way we find out. And that is by revelatory insight from spirit, from the real self inside, reveal it to his
Mhm.
conscious or his mind, or he found out just that way.
Because even though we don't know a lot about Jesus other than what the scriptures say, there are indications even in the scriptures where he did talk there in that particular passage uh, in first person,
Mhm.
being in the awareness of being the Father, and that there was absolutely no separation.
Right,
However,
right.
when he was on the cross
Uh huh.
and going through the crucifixion, if the story is true, he cried out because he felt abandoned by
That
God.
was a typical example of the sleep state that everybody is in now.
So even Jesus, if the narrative is
Yep, he
true,
he
even
tasted
he had that fluctuation
right back and
between
forth.
human feelings and that divinity within.
Yep, he thought it not robbery to be equal with God, which means he had an opposite thought.
Yeah,
He had
yeah.
to deal with it the way we deal with it now.
Mhm,
Actually,
mhm.
it is him dealing with it now through and as
And
us.
you even in that passage of scripture about the cross, he did deal with it immediately while
Yeah,
he was on the
yeah.
cross. And it was he made the transition when he said, Father, forgive them.
The cross was, we see it as a piece of wood and a man nailed to it with nails. The cross is really finding out what he said here in this
Yes.
9th verse of the 11th chapter of
Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
The cross, I want to say this. We studied for years and ventured out into finding out how Jesus cast out devils like the Gadarene man in the graveyard, uh, legion of spirit beings inside this man. And the man spoke through that, the dog spirit spoke through that man in first person. The
Mhm.
same way the demons talk first person in a lot of us.
Without us even knowing it.
Now, I give you an example.
Yeah.
We would have a line of people coming down and giving offerings, and shaking hands, and this girl came through the line.
And this has been years ago.
Yeah,
right?
been years ago. I didn't know who she was. First time I ever seen her.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Who are you?"
Yeah, and something else.
The
spoke.
voice that spoke through her said, "What was it?" Said, "I am
I don't
envy. I am
hatred or something.
Yeah, I am envy. I am hatred."
Mm-hmm.
I did not make a scene with it.
The
to stop it.
energy spoke.
Yeah, the energy of the conditioned self, which was darkness, blindness, and sleep, said, "I am envy. I am jealous. I am this." It just said what it was, and I wasn't speaking to. I didn't think I was speaking to it. I was speaking to her.
Right.
I said, "Well, who are you?" And I heard the difference in the tone of the voice. Now, this is the clue. This clue that I'm getting ready to tell you here is the way I found out how and what Jesus was doing speaking in first person. And this is another clue as to why a lot of us cannot hear the altered self or the dark self or the false self speaking, because our ears have to be trained to see and hear who is really talking, like we're talking now.
Yeah, and most of us are unaware when our conditioning are speaking.
Yeah.
But this morning while I was walking, baby and girl and I had our walk, and a lot of times I'll do meditation or contemplation while I'm walking, and I heard these words said to me: "You cannot connect to God with the mind."
Mm.
There is no way to connect with God with the mind. It has to be by way of the heart. And so then I said to myself, every answer that I need.
You said to him?
I said to him, to myself, mm-hmm. Every answer that I need is here within me. Every thing that I need is here within me. And that there is nothing else but God here. There is only God. And so then at that point, there was no sense of separation. So the sense of separation, which is really not true, is not a reality, but there is in us a sense of separation. Mm-hmm. But when I bring my focused attention back to there is nothing else here in this earth but God, and that everything that is needed is within me, because that's where God is, and that's who God is. And it takes away that sense of separation. It collapses.
Yeah.
And then there's no feeling or urge like I need to connect.
Yeah.
That's gone at that point.
Yeah.
That's that point. Yes.
And he said, have Philip, he that have seen me have seen the Father. Here's the good one. We won't say that. No, and yet we are in the same position Jesus was right now.
That's true. That's
Father,
true.
Son, Spirit, all right here on this site talking. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We won't say that when you look at us, you see the Father. When you hear us talking, you hear the Father. We won't say it. And the reason why is because basically.
But we will say we're the Son.
Oh, yeah. We get bold enough to say that.
Yeah.
Now, depending on the degree of the thickness of the conditioned self.
Of the belief in separation. Mhm. And the belief that there is another.
Okay,
And you've said it for years, God is not someone else at another time in another place.
that's right.
And so we've grown up with the idea that God is an other.
The Lamb of God that takes away the sins of the world is the Lamb that we are removing our attention away from the connection with the false identity.
Yes. And Sister Chris says this. She says, "So let not your heart be troubled, for therein lies all your answers for life."
That's right.
Yeah.
But one of the things we said the other day. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and the answers don't come to my mind.
Right. Oh, thank you.
I have all the answers. They are all here accessible. However, they don't come to my mind and except through intuition. And the intuition comes when my heart is open and softened, and I know that there is no other and no separation. That's when the intuition comes.
Okay. Here is another clue. And we say this and we do this by uh, redundancy patterns and the gray matter of the brain being seared and cut through these areas. We do not get this.
Yes. Yes.
We
yes.
are this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody asks you, are you a carpenter? If you're not, you'll say no. If you are a carpenter, you said yes. Do you have something that needs to be fixed?
One who's going to school and training
Okay.
to be a carpenter, if asked that question, would probably say not yet or no.
Okay.
But when the final lesson of the course has been passed, you can say, yes, I am that.
And you don't, the only reason why Jesus said these statements in here about when one with the Father is because these guys that were standing around him were ready, and the situation arose where the statement and the question could be asked amongst them that they were ready to hear it.
Not only that, they were really searching and seeking for the Father. Jesus brought the Father to them and let them know it was not a remote thing, that God is not remote. And so brought it home, brought it right directly. And that's why he told them that the kingdom of God is within you. Brought them home to where God actually is.
Mm-hmm. And it's called isness.
Yes, yes.
Or readiness.
And we have a couple of good comments I want to mention, Pastor. Sinette says, embrace your divinity, for within you lies the power of a mother. Yes, the power of creation, the power to conceive, more than the power to give birth. It is a power to conceive. And then let your light shine, radiant and true, a goddess, a naturer in all you do. So integrating dark and light, the light illuminates the dark. And then Jill says, the mind complicates oneness. Yes, ma'am. It cannot get it. It'll say I'm one with, which is still two. Being one with as the Father is easy when mind is bypassed.
Judas, the mind, ego, may have to walk with the pure consciousness, Christ identity, the whole duration of this pathless path, walkless walk of God in these bodies and on earth. But Jesus never lost sight because it became spontaneous and a knowing. Beyond knowing your mother and your father, beyond even the birthing of the body, there is something of the sacredness scrolls of the download of the subconscious mind that has to be dealt with deeply in those areas where the black box is located, to where every anniversary that comes up from the black box, like today, the black box is the one that gives you the sad feeling at funerals. The black box is the information that operates through memory, past experiences, and the mind, the floating back every time that anniversary come up by seeing something, a tree or rain, whenever that event took place. The drastic side of it, it causes the wandering mind to go off into a trance. It must be known beyond any of this, PTSD is one of the things that I've had to run into with a lot of military people.
Well, and you've dealt with it.
And I felt this in personal life. It's because you go to Vietnam and come back or not, it is still that area that causes the gray matter of the brain to throw up those memories from the black box.
Now, when Jesus said that to the disciples or whoever were listening to him about he is the Father. So have I been so long with you, have I not known who I really am? What he was saying is who he is underneath the personality.
Yeah.
So when we look at each other, if we can look underneath the personality, we would see that there is nothing else but God. There is nothing else here but God.
Now, the thing of it is,
but we tend to look right at the personality. We don't usually get past the personalities of people when we're interacting with them.
That's right. The ego uses guilt, memories.
My stomach's talking.
The inner voice of memory to give off the idea that we have not arrived yet because something still has the patterns of our mother and our father physically, and we have the scars that causes us to go into depression, seemingly depression, and it gives us the ideal of the school of the road of hard knocks has got to be there in order for us to grow. In our true identity, growth is defined in a different way than physically expanding. Growth is coming to the place where it become more or much easier or much lighter for you to see the truth behind the sleeping giants. The sleeping giants are always those monkeys sitting up in the tree, pointing down at you and telling you that you are a monkey because you haven't overcome certain areas of your life. And until you do, you'll never be holy. You're still saying things and talking about the same thing you used to. If this thing has struck you deep enough, you will be able to see, observe, and watch the old, what you call the old man or new man. You will be able to watch it and catch it. If we're around somebody and they're like this and they catch it, they'll say, preachers don't talk like that. If you're saved, the woods are full of them. Preachers ain't supposed to be going into dark places where people are of the world. Well, my God, Jesus was around 24/7. And yet it did not disturb his undisturbed self.
So I think what you're bringing to us is what God consciousness actually is.
Now you know what? I'm going to ask the boss man to give you a raise. That's
what
right.
God consciousness actually is. Jesus had an awareness, and his awareness was God was living as a man, but incarnated in his body.
Yeah.
God living as a man, but incarnated in his body.
I know people draw a lot of pictures of Jesus. There's a lot of artists that draw pictures of the way they believe.
Mm-hmm.
Little girl draw pictures of the way he seemed to be. Let me tell you something. The mystery behind all of this is this. I told a person in a place, when I looked at them, I said, and the revelatory insight came, Jesus' eyes is the color of everybody in the earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's the mystical talk
Mm-hmm.
that I'm talking now.
Yeah.
If it's blue, brown, or whatever, it is his eyes. His color is there. Now, I said to the person, I can see Jesus in your eye. When I'm talking to somebody, you'll see me look off to the side, over the top. I'll come back and look at their eyes, but I found out that the eyes are the mirror to the soul.
Yes.
And when I look at you, I'm looking not at you, I'm looking through you, not looking for faults. That's one thing that has to be eliminated from the old meal stream
Well,
of where we used to be in the church. When we look at somebody, we say, I can see the devil.
yeah.
Why
Well,
can't you see God?
you said something this last week. We were
Mm-hmm.
just kind of sitting watching
Mm-hmm.
TV, and you said this, and I don't remember what our conversation was,
Mm-hmm.
but you said whenever we speak regarding another being, another
Mm-hmm.
person,
Mm-hmm.
we should always speak from compassion
And you can, and you would,
and
and you
not
should.
criticism.
You can. It's
And you
easy.
can,
Yeah,
yes,
it's easy.
yes.
I told a lady at the therapist place, I first time I ever seen you. I didn't have to ask her how she was doing. If you do that, you're loading up your 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 monkey mind. How you doing? Well, she's going to the doctor. There's something going on.
Yeah.
Um, I said I didn't ask her. I said to her, "You look like you're doing so much better."
And that was a conversion of her thought
That's the way I
patterns.
want to talk to her.
And that's very important for us to be the light. Being the light in this world is to help convert the habitual patterns of negativity that's in the thought processes of people.
It is called the UR,
Mhm.
not the UFO. The UR.
Yeah. Now, so that's got another wonderful comment.
Mhm.
Comment. Let me post that up. She says, allowing the light to shine at the black box.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, girl, you're talking
Be the observer
of the black box.
and just let the Holy Spirit deal with it. Decide to release is enough. Yes, it is. It is. Today, just realized I stopped feeling guilt. Catch my thought yesterday and decided to release and give and forgot about it. Thank you. That's great, Sinette. That's great.
Now,
I like the part, especially about letting the light shine in the black box.
and it's easy.
Mhm,
All
mhm.
you have to do is say,
Do you have to say?
you don't have to. All you don't have to do is not say, or if you do say, good morning.
So,
Thank you.
yeah. Good morning. Thank you.
Well, hello. I haven't seen
Thank
you in a
you is
while.
really a good way to do it. Thank you.
Mhm. It's the most powerful
And
statement you can make in the
the
universe.
other statement is I love you.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love you to yourself. I love you to God. I love you to other people around you. I love you. That automatically
I hear the old song said, coming home, coming
coming home,
home.
never more to roam.
There you go, girl. Sing it,
I don't
baby.
know the rest.
Coming home. Lord, I'm coming home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now
So
that's past tense, but I want to sing it like this. I'm at home. I'm at
it's not past tense, it's
home.
future, but
I am
yeah.
home. Yes, Lord, I am home. I'm at home for good, and I'll stay there under any circumstances. Even if my feeling are bad, up or down, I'm already home.
Okay.
I had to make that up there for you, baby.
Yes,
I'm gonna
you
put that
did.
in
You
Hollywood.
did well. You did well. You
Mhm.
did well. So Jesus had the awareness of God living as man, as he was, as he is, incarnated in his body. He had the total awareness of divinity within himself and had the willingness to accept it and live in it.
Yeah.
uh, and it is not a mystical feeling. And I
That's
think
right.
that is what has to be driven home, that it is not a mystical feeling. Awakening, enlightenment, this understanding and awareness of oneness is not a mystical feeling. It is really your naturalness.
It is. I studied for years the definition of the statement empathic.
Mm-hmm.
From the word
Mm-hmm.
empathicness, I began to investigate into the eons of eternity of the Lamb that was slain before the foundation of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, watch this mystery. Watch this. That Lamb that was slain before the foundation of the world. Hear me, please, with your heart. That was
It
us.
was us.
Don't push this thing.
That was
Don't
us.
allow your human left brain to bamboozle your identity with your true Christ identity self by saying that was Jesus and the book of Revelation. That was you.
Don't bamboozle yourself by thinking you have to have a different feeling,
That's right.
by thinking you have to feel
That's
completely
right.
blissful,
That's
by
right.
thinking that you have to be able to hear God
That's right.
24/7. Those things are not necessary. I remember Jesus made
Yeah.
the comment in one of the passages of scripture. He said, "A wicked generation seeks a sign."
Mm.
It seeks a sign. You
Mm.
don't need a sign that you are that, and that there is this indissoluble union that has already taken place.
I can feel my inside shaking like an earthquake inside. Just talking about this.
It has
Just
nothing.
talking about
Yeah,
this.
yeah, and it
Oh,
cannot be negated. It cannot be undone. It cannot change because of the circumstances or the way you feel or the way you even behave. It cannot change. It just is. And we get caught up with the personality, the mask that we wear, and start believing that that is us. And like I said about Sinette was making a comment about the mother being Mother's Day. Most of us focus on the fact that they gave birth to children,
mm-hmm.
but these are women who were able to conceive.
Mm-hmm.
Able to conceive
Mm-hmm.
makes you a mother.
Conceiving our true self
Mhm.
is the giving birth to the Christ consciousness.
So I must have my spiritual womb must be open to conceive this truth of who you are, and allow it to develop into an incarnation, an embodiment.
Did I ever tell you about the time I was in school? I didn't know anything about God living in us, Holy Spirit, and all that. I wanted to actually be Jesus and see Him.
You did?
Yeah, I did when I was in school, in high school, between the 7th and 8th grade.
And you had no religious
Mm-mm.
uh, connections with churches or anything like that.
At the time I was in school, I couldn't read. Okay, here's what happened. I remember the room, the teacher's name. And if I wanted to, during that time, I could have made a big fuss in that classroom. I mean, the room was full of students,
Mm-hmm.
and we had our books on the desk, and she wanted me to read. And instead of reading the book, I had my little pocket Bible, and I was looking at the pocket Bible, and she spotted me from the front of the class and stood me up in the floor in the class and ridiculed me
because you had the pocket
because
Bible.
I had the pocket Bible.
Mhm.
Yes, I was out of place,
Mhm.
but I did that.
Mhm.
Now,
You've always been cutting edge like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You've always
I
done
had the
that.
Bible in my hand, and she knew the teacher that was my godmother upstairs that was very close to me, and she made a scene out of me, but she didn't know that if I had known what I know now, and I probably I'd have been out of place again, I would have told her that every weekend when she went home, that her husband and her would be drinking and he would beat her every weekend. And I found that out, but at the time I wasn't thinking like I do now. I could have said that in that classroom and hell would have broken loose in my life in school, which already was. I carried this Bible, and when she did that, she did everything she could to shame me out of bringing a Bible and carrying it around in my pocket. And I quit carrying it during that time. When I got upstairs to my godmother, she got the word of what happened because teachers in school, they go in the teacher's lounge. And I always wanted to know, what did they do in the teacher's lounge?
Well, that's not important.
But I'm just telling you about the life that I was into with the Bible. So my godmother told me, scolded me for doing that, and that I was totally out of place. But I never did pick the Bible up again till after I got further along, about the 8th, 9th grade. But that really happened. And I used to carry it around in my pocket.
But you were feeling, as a child, you were feeling a pull.
And
a pull to spirituality, and you didn't even know what you were experiencing.
And you know what?
And of
baby,
course,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's
you
right.
were feeling the pull and the gravitational pull of being drawn to that oneness. That's what you were feeling, and you didn't know any other way to connect with it.
And I was going around, before I met you, I was going around to everybody in the family and collecting their Bible.
I remember, and I think this may happen to a lot of people. I suspect that a lot of us had that same gravitational pull when we were younger and didn't know what it was and didn't know how to really connect with it. And most of us, like we said the other day, when we had our conversion experience, we didn't have any better sense than to go to the church and think that's where God was. And God wasn't in the church, but the church was looking for God the same as everybody else and trying to put God in a building. And we just didn't know any better. We didn't know any better.
And in the 7th grade, I was in the arts and craft class on the ground floor. And the art teacher, I know her, I see her face. She ridiculed me again because I called out another teacher's name and didn't call it out correctly. And she stopped and scolded me and asked me how to spell it.
So you've had those kinds
I
of
had those
happening.
encounters deliberately in the classroom with these teachers. And I'm just telling you, and now I'm going to stop there and say this to everybody. It was not until after 50 years now that we are here, or 70 years, whatever it is, I can look back over all of that and see Jesus. I can see Christ going through this. I can see God in everything, even the worst moment of my life, your life. And I'm asking
in hindsight, you
you
can look back and see where,
I can see the lamb being slayed all through life.
And you can also see the lamb being shaped
for this.
Yes, for this.
I didn't have any idea that I was going to meet this little short girl here.
I'm not the only one short.
I'm taller.
You're just taller than me, but you're not. You're about that much taller.
I'm up there, girl. I'm telling you.
If I put high heel shoes on, we're about the same height.
I double dare you to put them on. I want to see you. I want to be right there when you put them on.
Listen, we have our wonderful sweetie pie here. Angel just tuned in.
Is that Angel?
Yeah, that's Angel.
Where's she at?
There, I just clicked on it. Angel.
That's Angel.
Yes, Angel. Remember, Angel was in the hospital with you.
Yeah, MCC. Oh,
yeah, she was in the hospital with you, and I'm glad you're here.
With
Angel. Me. Yes,
Angel. Where you been?
She was there when you had surgery before.
The bariatric surgery.
No, the last time you had shoulder surgery.
Oh, that's the girl.
And don't get all caught up.
I got to talk to you now.
What you're doing.
I hope you're doing okay out there. I would love to see if I could see all of you out there, Angel. I would hug your neck and squeeze it till the turkey juice come out of it.
Okay, now,
Okay.
now. Sinette
Okay.
says, she's got another good comment. She says,
Okay.
we are all mothers,
Yes.
carry Christ in us. Yes,
Yes.
we have all conceived Christ.
I gotta tell you
Let
something.
our conception dissolve, and Christ is visible,
Lord have mercy.
born for our sight. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. That's so good.
When we were in our last building, there was a young lady that had a handicapped child,
Yes.
and she came into the church,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden I saw the Immaculate Mother standing right by her.
Mm-hmm.
In Spanish, she would be Guadalupe,
Yeah.
Jesus' mother, Immaculate. And she revealed to me that she was the mother of every mother in the earth. She was, and she is the Holy Mother of the heart of Christ,
Mm-hmm.
of the heart of all of us. And she said, she said and showed me that she was holding that lady in our service, child, in her arms. And I have seen children, and every time I see them, it is reflected in my mind of the image that I saw of her. She is beyond what she was giving birth to Jesus. She is real. The Catholicism may or may not expound on this, but I have been ventured into it, and I know that I have seen her do some of the most amazing things. And you know what? This is what he just said. She just showed me. Whenever and how this happened is beyond natural understanding. Every child has been born in the earth all over the universe. She and her presence is there in the room with them. Omnipotent, omnipresent. She and Christ
you
Jesus
do
together.
realize, and I know you do, that the Immaculate Conception, which is what you're considering as the mother of all, that Immaculate Conception it wasn't the birth of Jesus that made her that.
Okay.
It was the conceiving.
Okay.
It was the ability to conceive the seed of God.
That's it.
And that is where we are.
That's where we are.
We are the Immaculate Conception. Yeah. When we receive the seed of God in ourselves and we realize who we are, that Christ
was
is
just
born.
One of the ways it was revealed to
and
me.
that Christ is born here in us.
I see it.
That is the Immaculate Conception.
And she, in or out of translation anywhere, she is absolutely amazing. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that Angel said she has had surgery, knee surgery,
knee
replacement surgery, and she had been in the hospital as well. I'm glad you're doing okay, sweetie pie.
I'd like to see you. I would love to see you and hug your neck. I really would. I would love to see you, but I haven't been over there to the hospital lately. The last time I was over there was when I had my shoulder. And it's doing better. But you know, it's always good to know these things. Jesus, you know, and I'll tell you something else. You won't mention his name as often as we do in church when it says, "In his name we shall, and by this we shall do this by his name."
Because actually, it's in his nature.
Yeah, you can say it's plenty of people got the name
Jesus.
Yeah. What I like to do when I see Hispanic or people like that, I said, "What do you know about the name or the word Guadalupe?" "Oh, I know her." And one time I was on a venture to go around to different Catholic churches and ask them about them. And I'd like to sit in the midst of them. But what I'm interested in is the actual reality of what we're talking about exist.
Yes, the Immaculate
It
Conception.
exists.
The Immaculate Conception exists here in all. It dwells here in all of us,
Yeah.
especially those of us who have been able to see that Christ is here inside of us. Not just in a way of believing,
Yeah.
but coming to a divine knowing, where there is no sign needed, no evidence needed, because it has already been conceived. And once it's conceived, there is this time of gestation.
Mhm.
We're talking about mothers.
Yeah.
There's a time of gestation where that you conceive begins to expand, and as it expands, and that's what it meant in the scriptures when John said, "I must decrease and he
Yeah.
must increase."
Yeah.
But as that we have conceived expands, then that we have believed ourselves to be all our lives begins to dissipate.
Jesus said this, believe me that I am in the Father and the Father in me.
Mm-hmm.
Or else believe me for the very work's sake. Now I begin to find out how to do miracles. And the first great miracle that dawns upon me now is the beingness of I am,
Yes.
24/7, and it
Yes.
never,
Yes.
it is not something I have to make happen. It's not something that I have to pray about. I wanna say something like, I tell you what I want to say. I look at my puppy dog, baby girl, and I look at her eyes, and I always say to her, I see you.
Mm-hmm.
I see you. I tell her I know who she is.
Yeah.
I see her.
Yeah.
I like looking in your eyes.
You made her start talking. She's over here growling.
Is she talking?
Yes.
Girl.
So you calling her name too many times is, hey, Lady Gwen, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for happy Mother's Day
Thank
to
you
me.
so much. And
Thank you, my Jory. I see
Yeah.
you, sweetheart.
majority, yeah.
Yeah. So this Christ being that we are now aware of as ourselves, knowing that it is not a religious person that we're trying to become, that Jesus that lived 2,000 years ago. We are allowing the essence that dwelled in the Jesus body to dwell in our bodies as well.
He said, whatever you give, I'll receive it.
Whatever you give.
And he said, whatever you give me, I'll receive it.
Mm-hmm.
And all that I receive that you gave, I shall give back to you in the form of 100-fold, return back to you what you gave me. I will return back to you if you have given your complete awareness, the ability to function through you in beingness of him. He said, I shall return back to you your awareness, the truth of the fullness of what you gave to me in recognition of my identity being one. It's a fellowship, he says, that takes place in giving and receiving. As you give, whatever you give, I will give it back. But I will give it back to you in the form of seeing and experiencing the abundance of myself that you recognize as the gift to you. That's what it would be. So I'm saying these things because I want you guys to go in awareness fully back home to the Father. Back home, not so much dying and leaving the body, but back home. Laverne, I feel your heart, and all the rest of us out there that feel the heart of our mothers today. That's the immaculate heart of God
Mhm.
that you're feeling.
Mhm.
What took me in this direction more than anything was when Jesus showed me his heart
Mhm.
with the five colors of fire, and it burned, and it is yeah. Wait a minute, something I wrote down a note. It is a fire that burns without fuel, and the fuel that is used when I look at locust wood in the fireplace, when I used to burn the fireplace in the stove, I used to look inside the stove and see the wood, no other wood like it. It burnt a blue flame.
Mhm.
One of the hottest flames in a fire is the blue flame. I looked in it. When I got ready to put wood in the stove, I would stick my hand inside the fire with asbestos gloves on. And for the first time, I could feel what it was like to have the fire of God kindled in my heart and soul, and it consumed me, but it never destroyed me. But it destroyed everything that was not Him.
Yes. And that's what this life is designed to do,
Yes,
is to consume everything that
yes,
is not him.
yes,
So if you just, I want you to remember this, that your face is the mask that God is wearing. Your body is the garment that God is wearing. And that you are that representing to the world God that the world cannot see. And so you are very, very important as you move about your day to day life and interact with other people, that you have the ability to convert every process of thinking that is harmful to each other, to them. And you are able to convert every habitual thought pattern that people have that is negative toward themselves. And you do that simply by being appreciative, showing that you're kind, uh, being there for people supportively, saying I love you, I appreciate you. Those kinds of things are very, very important. Or as you said, what did you say to the lady who was at the store? You said you told her that you're doing well, or something you
yeah.
said.
I said, you look like you're doing so much better.
Yeah, I mean that. Yes,
Yeah, I said, you're doing well. You
yes,
look like you're
yes.
doing well.
So those kinds of things are very, very important. And actually, when you are aware of,
When you say that, you're releasing healing power,
yeah,
healing love. When you say
yeah.
that.
So we talk about seeing Christ in other people, but you gotta see Christ in you as you before you see them everywhere
Well,
else.
when I found out how to see God and how to say see God, I
Mm-hmm.
started
Mm-hmm.
saying I see Him, and I talked to the people. Now, when I was in the therapist office this week past, there was a little girl, two little girls came in, and well, a little girl and a little boy, and she was dressed in a pretty little dress, and she acted like she was scared of me, and the mama said to me, said they act like they shy, but she said they're not shy.
Mm-hmm.
But she, as I got up to walk out, she thought I was going to reach over and touch her, but I didn't. And she started making noise. But when I got out the door, both her and her brother was watching me when I pulled off in the Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just a thing that children do. But we understand where we came from, why we're here, and who it is that we're speaking to when we talk to anybody. They don't have to know Jesus the way the church say, but there's one thing I do know about them. Every last one of them are eternal beings.
Yeah.
And that eternal essence didn't just come from the supermarket or come from winning the Powerball. It came because you are that essence. Essence name came up on that, didn't it?
Yes, she was
You are
here.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been established in our true identity that Christ is on the earth and his face is our face. So we're facing God.
Yes,
Hey,
yes.
baby.
So I want to thank you for
Hey,
your
baby.
love offerings to
Hey.
Pastor and myself.
Thank you for
Uh,
the love gifts.
to Leslie
Yeah.
specifically. Thank you, Leslie, for
Thank you for
sending to
special-
Pastor.
Yes.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, those of you who've sent directly to Pastor and myself. We want to thank you for that.
We want to thank
And
you for
we
from
appreciate
the heart of
all
God.
of their giving. And for those of you who've been very committed to give to Cornerstone, your offerings and your tithes, to keep that going, we appreciate that as well. And of course, you can do that now if you go to the website, which is thecornerstonelifecenter.com,
I got you.
and you can just hit the donate button, and it's really simple. Or you can text to CLC Greensboro to 73256. And you can do also paypal.me/cornerstone35. And if you want, you can just mail it into P.O. Box 36259 in Greensboro 27416. And we appreciate everything that you give. You guys have a beautiful Mother's Day.
Please do. And we have a heart of heart conversation every time we see you and talk to you.
Yes, yes. And I just wanted to remember again our sweetie pies that are not with us, but we love them still, and we know that they are still a part of our spiritual community, even though they're no longer in their bodies.
Yeah.
That's Mama Esther, Mama Essie, and Mother Larice. We thank God for them touching our lives, and we just want to remember
we call them the Sacred Hearts of God in our life.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you again for supporting us. And we're going to take off right here and get us some lunch. I think we're going to get some lunch.
You guys enjoy your day. And we'll be looking forward to talking to you on Tuesday at 7.
Yeah, I fixed some hobo dinners.
Uh-oh. Come on over.
Chicken, and one of them is
take a jump.
Why don't you
get in the Starship Enterprise and beam in?
That would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would be good. We love you guys. We'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.